Hi, welcome back to Journey to Nailed. Thank you for clicking on this video and joining this journey with me. In today's video, I'm going to be going over the proper steps of decontamination when it comes to your salon implements. I'm also going to be going over what specs you guys need to look for when selecting your disinfectant to use in your salon setting. This video is very educational, so go ahead and grab your pen, grab your paper, and prepare to have a peace of mind the next time you encounter infection control. Okay, so the first step of decontamination is the mechanical process, and the mechanical process is the cleaning process. So cleaning is when you're removing visible dust and debris with warm water and soap. Now the soap that you want to use is a liquid soap. In this video, I'm going to be using some dish detergent. So you can use dish detergent or hand detergent. It doesn't matter as long as it is liquid. You do not want to clean your implements by rubbing them on a bar of soap. You're just going to be spreading the germs from one implement to the other, so you want to make sure that you use liquid. The second step of proper decontamination is the chemical process. The chemical process is when we implement our disinfectant solution. Now, the disinfectant solution you can use can either be a salon grade disinfectant or a hospital grade disinfectant. You can choose either one. The thing to keep in mind when you're choosing is to go through the specs of the disinfectant, and I will show you guys what to go through later on in this video. So when selecting your disinfectant, you want to make sure that the disinfectant you select is bactericidal, virucidal, and fungicidal. You want to make sure that you have those three things, because those are the three things that the salon is most known for spreading. The next thing you need to look for when selecting your disinfectant is whether your disinfectant has an EPA number listed on the packaging. Now, the EPA stands for the Environmental Protection Agency, and what this agency does is that they register all disinfectants sold in the United States. Now, when a disinfectant has the EPA number on it, the EPA number tells us that the disinfectant was tested and proved for efficacy. Now, that means that whatever lab the EPA tested this in, they tested it with fungus, viruses, and anything listed on that package. Anything that disinfectant lists and says that it will get rid of, the EPA tested for it, and with the EPA number tells us that the EPA tested and approved this product, and this product does what the package says that it does. Alright, next up on the list is you want to make sure that your disinfectant is anti-rust formula. As you know, most of our implements are made out of stainless steel. And when you're using your disinfectant, you have to submerge your implements for whatever allotted time that the disinfectant says. So, to keep your implements from rusting, you want to make sure that you have that anti-rust formula on it. Alright, now that we have gotten those steps out of the way, the next thing you want to look for is storage, disposal, and directions for usage. Now you want to look at all these things again before you purchase this item, because you do not want to purchase this disinfectant and take it home and realize that you are head over heels. You do not want to take it home and realize that you do not have the proper items to dispose of the disinfectant, I should say. You do not have the proper items to store the disinfectant in. You do not have the proper room temperature to store the disinfectant in. These are all things that you have to take in consideration when picking your disinfectant. So you want to make sure that you read all those things. You want to see, hey, if your only disposable option is to pour it down the sink, you want to make sure that you have a disinfectant that can be poured down the sink. Because some disinfectants, I will let you know, some disinfectants will, if you pour it down the sink or down your toilet, it will eat through your pipes. It will eat through the porcelain of your toilet. So these are important steps that you must look at. Barbicide states that you must mix 2 ounces of barbicide with 32 ounces of water. and as well as you must submerge your implements for 10 minutes. Now these two things are very important. Your mixing ratios are important because in a salon setting, if you mix your disinfectant wrong, if your water and your disinfectant ratios are off, that is considered illegal. Now, the soaking time is very important because there is no such thing as extra disinfecting. So if the disinfectant says 10 minutes, you do not want to soak your disinfectant for 15 minutes because you think that they'll be super disinfectant. There's no such thing. What will happen is if you go over that 10-minute mark, is that disinfectant will start to eat at your implements and make them weaker. So you want to make sure that you follow the proper directions to prevent from destroying your implements as well as prevent from improper disinfecting. Alright, so now let's talk about the items that we use to wipe down our equipment, whether it's your desk, your chairs, your lamp, your nail drill, wherever you use to wipe down your equipment. Let's get into that stuff. Now I have two wipes. I have some antibacterial wipes and I have some Clorox disinfecting wipes. Now one of these wipes you can use and one of these wipes you cannot. Once again, we have to go back to that EPA agency, which is the Environmental Protection Agency. Here they come into play again. I need you guys to understand that antibacterial products and disinfectant products are not the same thing. Antibacterial will just do that, bacteria, and then you have disinfectant, which disinfectant, they will get rid of fungus, viruses, the works. But antibacterial is just bacterial. So as you see, I'm going through this antibacterial wipe and I'm trying to find the EPA number. There is no EPA number to be found on this wipe, on this package. So that means that in a salon setting, these wipes cannot be used. Next up, we have the Clorox wipes. Now the Clorox, they say disinfectant wipes kill 99.9% of viruses and bacteria. And if you go to the back of the package, you will see that it goes into further detail about like hepatitis, HIV, all that good stuff. Now we want to turn this package and we want to look for that EPA number to see if it's true, if it's registered, if it will get rid of what it says it will get rid of. And boom, there it is right there. We found it. So we know that we are allowed to use these wipes in our salon setting. Alright, so now the part that you guys have all been waiting for, the Barbicide mixture part. Alright, so Barbicide states that you need 32 ounces of liquid. My measuring cup only goes to 16 ounces, so I need 2 of those. So 32 ounces of water and then 2 ounces of the Barbicide mixture. Now, my Barbicide container only holds up to 21 ounces of liquid. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to pre-mix my Barbicide and then pour it into my Barbicide jar. When performing these steps, it is recommended that you wear gloves. However, I did not have any at the time. So if you're like me and you don't have any gloves, you want to make sure to be extra cautious. You do not want the barbicide to come into contact with your skin at all whatsoever. If it does, you want to make sure that you thoroughly flush your skin and rinse it. If you need to seek medical attention, make sure that you do that. This stuff is extremely strong, extremely concentrated. Even when you dilute it in the water, you still don't want that solution to come into contact with your skin. So you want to make sure that you're being very careful. And whatever measuring cup that you use to measure that barbicide, you want to thoroughly rinse it out, very thoroughly. If you guys are interested in learning more specs about barbicide specifically, the Barbicide website has a free training on all of their products for salon professionals. And once you complete the training, they give you a little certificate, which is something that you can display in your salon. If you have to take the extra step by pre-mixing your mixture like I did, you want to make sure to label whatever container that you're going to store your pre-mixed mixture in, because you do not want nobody to mistake it as juice, Gatorade, none of that. So make sure you put caution tape with letters, warning all around that container so that no one drinks it. You want to make sure that you are storing your dirty implements in a container with a lid. You do not want to store them in the same area with your clean ones. That is considered cross-contamination. Just like the same way, you won't season your meat on a plate and then go chop your vegetables up on that same plate. If you do that, you shouldn't be doing that. So don't do that. And same thing with your implements. You do not want to cross-contaminate. Now let's get into the items that you cannot properly clean or disinfect, which are your nail files, your buffers, and your sanding bands. Now these items are considered porous, which means they are not solid, they have holes in them, so they will breed bacteria and viruses and microorganisms, and you cannot disinfect them. The only way that you'll be able to disinfect a hand file is if you're using a stainless steel hand file, which is stainless steel, which means it can be disinfected and properly cleaned. Another exception for nail files are peel and stick nail files. Now those are an exception because those you technically are reusing them, but you're not reusing the same layer. They're peel and stick. So after each client should receive a new layer of that peel and stick file. If you don't peel and stick it after each client, then you're using it improperly, and you can possibly spread infection. Now the hand buffers. I know you're probably like, dang, I gotta use a hand buffer after each client. I gotta throw it away. It's a waste of money. So what I do to help me feel like I'm not wasting my money is I buy the little small square ones. Instead of, we have the big four-sided block buffers. I do not buy those because if I throw that away after each client, I'm gonna feel like I'm wasting my money. So what I do is I purchase the little small ones off of Amazon. Okay, now let's get into the sanding band. Now this sanding band, if you didn't know, now you know. Write it down, put it in the back of your mind. Sanding bands are one-time usage only. Now these bands, they are made out of the same material that your buffers and your files are made out of. So which means they cannot be cleaned, they cannot be disinfected. Those are one-time usage. After each client, it needs to be disposed of. Now, one thing I did do in this video is I dropped my sanding band on the floor. And I'm glad I did that so I can mention this to you guys. No matter what item it is, whether it's a sanding band, a cuticle pusher, a cuticle nipper, a nail file, whatever it is, if you're performing a service and you accidentally drop that item on the floor, you do not pick that item up off the floor and continue to use it. What you do is you leave it on the floor and you go into your compartment of clean implements, and you grab a clean one. When you pick something off the floor and continue to use it, what you're doing is you're increasing you're increasing your rate of infection. You're increasing the possibility of you creating an infection and passing an infection on to your client, to the next person. So anything dropped on the floor, leave it. It is now dirty. You cannot use that item. Now, you cannot disinfect the sanding band, but you can disinfect your mandrel that the sanding band is on, and you should disinfect it. So what you're going to do is you're going to remove your sanding band. Mine wouldn't come off, so I'm going to peel it off like a piece of paper. So I'm going to peel that off. I'm going to reveal the mandrel underneath. Now, that mandrel is made out of stainless steel, so you can disinfect the mandrel as well as your other bits. So your ceramic bits, your diamond bits, any bit that is not paper or rubber can be and should be disinfected. Okay, so now for the cleaning step of the decontamination process, you want to grab you a nail brush, you want to pour some of your liquid soap on your nail brush, and you want to thoroughly scrub each tool. You want to scrub dub that tool or that implement, whichever one you want to call it. You want to rinse it, and then you want to properly lay them out on a paper towel. All right, now that our implements are so fresh and so clean, we are now going to go into step 2 of the decontamination process, which is the chemical process. So we're going to pull out our tray and we're going to set all of our implements inside of the tray. And now I love that the Barbicide containers come with their tray because it's just easier for removal and easier for disinfecting. Now, if you are using a container that does not contain a tray, what you want to do is you want to grab some tongs to help you put your implements inside and remove them out of the tray, or you want to use some gloves to grab your implements in and out of the container or tray, whatever you are using. However, you do not want to go into this liquid barehanded, because like I said earlier, it will cause extreme irritation to the skin. Alright, now that our implements are fully submerged, we're going to set our 10-minute timer and we're going to wait for our implements to be disinfected. Alright, so now we're going to use our handy tray to help us remove our implements from our Barbicide mixture. And once you remove your implements from your Barbicide mixture, you then want to thoroughly rinse them with water. You do not want to go straight into using these tools once you remove them from the disinfectant, because the disinfectant remnants still being on the tools can cause irritation to the skin, as well as the disinfectant can continue to eat at your implements without you even knowing. So you want to make sure that you thoroughly rinse them and then lay them out to dry. Alright, that concludes this video. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I hope that you learned something new today. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you on my next one.